Hi, I'm Betsy, and this is my helper, Ellie. We just bought a 2018 Ram ProMaster 1500 cargo van. We plan to convert it to a camper van for fun getaways and adventures. Come along with us on this journey. We're in the very basic dry fit stages, and hopefully things are going to start coming together soon. But today's the scary day for cutting in the MaxxFan. But I've watched enough YouTube videos to where I'm feeling comfortable that if we go slowly and measure correctly, we'll be okay. It's scary to see daylight through your van. Everybody says it's scary, so. And then they say it's not scary, so let's hope we get to that part soon. And then we just put up visqueen because I'm about to go up on the roof and cut it, and it's going to catch all the shavings and such so it doesn't muck up the van. Taped around where the jigsaw is going to go, and I'm just going to draw the lines from the holes where I drilled. Should be 14 by 14. As I cut them, I put duct tape to just stop the wiggly as much. Been vacuuming up the chips just so it doesn't scratch the roof. When you cut this, you want a good jigsaw, which I borrowed from a friend because mine broke, and then a blade for thin metal, which has a lot of teeth on it to give you a good cut. I've cut it all out, and the nice thing about having duct tape is these edges are sharp, so you can roll the duct tape around to handle the piece of metal and not get hurt. They have adapters to help smooth out the ridges, if you're putting it in the back of the van, but we're putting it in the front. And since it's a 14-inch cutout, when you cut this area, you get down to a flat spot, so you don't need an adapter. Got the adapter here. Gonna set it in. All right, fits. So when you put this all together, these clips, they go on the side, like east and west, and north and south has no clips. And I put a little arrow on here because I have things that I'm lining up with this, so I want to make sure I've got everything working as I measured it. But this is good, so it's got a little bit of play in it, but not so much to where it's going to be awful. So that's good. Now what I'm going to do is put on some gloves so I don't kill myself, and then use a file and some sandpaper and just smooth out these edges. Let it drop it down into the plastic there, and then we'll put some Rust-Oleum on it to protect it from rust and corrosion. So I put some C-clamps very gently on because it's plastic. I don't want to break it, so I just put them on very, very gently just to hold it in place. And then I pre-drilled where the screws are going with a smaller bit than what the screw size is, just because getting through this metal, even though it's thin, it's hard to get through. Put the blue tape around is as the jigsaw is running along, I didn't want it scraping the paint, so it was just to protect the paint and try and catch some of the metal shavings. So then I just put it all here in the visqueen. And so what I'm going to do now is just, with these little pre-drilled holes, I'm going to file them because there's metal bits underneath, and then I'll touch everything up with Rust-Oleum primer. We'll cut in the van, and I took the visqueen down. So I'm going to give you a tip. If you have the visqueen up there, and then you open the sliding door, and we all know it's got that sort of vacuum kind of effect. If you leave the visqueen in, shut the door, it will then turn itself inside out and blow all the crap all back out where you were trying to protect. So open the door, take the visqueen down, and then you can shut the door. Alright, I've got the holes and the edge primed with Rust-Oleum. I've got Ellie down there keeping an eye on things. I cleaned it with denatured alcohol and clean blue towels. I've got my screws, the drill, and what I'm doing, and I've already put the butyl on here, I've just got it covered, so I'll put that on. I have these aluminum strips that I'm going to lay on top of where the screws go, because a lot of people have said it will disperse the pressure of the screw head, so it's less likely that the plastic would crack. I've got my tape measure. Not that I'm not good at using it, but what I'm going to do is measure the flange to this point and get it as straight as I can. And I have my walkie-talkie in case I need Betsy's help. Butyl around the edges, and that's going to go right here. I marked the flange so that the arrow is going forward, so I keep everything lined up, and then I numbered all the sides. I also numbered my pieces of aluminum so that everything stays in order. What I did first is I tried to just put a screw through one of the holes, and you see the butyls on the back. This stuff is like the kind of gum that you would get stuck on your shoe in a movie theater. So it is super sticky, and it's hard to see out in the sun, but what I've been doing is just punching through with a screwdriver. And you see how goopy it is, and I've been trying to pull it off. It's hard to do this one-handed, but I've been pulling it off, then pulling it back through just to open up the hole, and so that I can get the screw through without it getting gooped up. So all the holes, you see if you can see, yep. So I've got the holes cleared of the butyl, and that should make it easier. So let's see what we've got in here. So you see here's some of the white head. That's the one that you use on the inside to attach the cover that sort of makes it look nicer. These are the ones that I need right now. They're the little bit longer ones. And then here's the shorter ones that hold the fan in place. So just make sure you're using the right screw. Alright, I have the aluminum bars on, again, to help disperse the load so it doesn't push just on one specific spot with a screw head, so it just evens the load out a little bit. I know that some people who have made these things round the corners and make it look pretty, and I figured why bother, because it's going to get covered in die-core. The metal is so thin, we just wanted to give a little extra support. So as I said, I have these aluminum strips to help disperse the weight. And then what I did on the inside is I have, whoopsie, this is plastic, 1x2 maybe, and it's plastic. I got it from Lowe's, and so I pre-drilled the holes to match, number two, and it will go underneath. I'll clamp it like I've done with this one, so there's the plastic underneath, and it's held with a clamp, and then as I screw in, it's going to go into the pre-drilled holes that I put in the plastic strips, and that'll just give it a little bit more strength, because this roof is super flimsy. You'll figure that out once you get up here and sit near it, but hopefully this will give it a little bit of extra stiffness. The way that I'm finding this works well is I've got the screws in here, and I've screwed them down enough to where I can feel them coming through underneath, and I had pre-drilled holes in the ceiling with a little bit smaller drill than the screw, and that worked really well, because trying to get through this metal is tough. At least it is for me. So then what I'm doing is I take the board, I put it under and sort of wiggle it around till the screw tips fall into the pre-drilled holes on this. Then I move the clamps over there, hold it, back off the screws a little bit, tighten the clamps, and then screw it down. So it's easy to screw into this plastic. The reason I got plastic is because I was going to originally use wood and prime it and paint it, because a lot of people said right here you're getting a lot of temperature change and possibly moisture and such, just from humidity going in and out. So this plastic isn't going to be affected by any of that. So I'm really pleased with the way that it's feeling nice and strong where I've put it. And then what I did for marking it is I put the same number as what I have on the aluminum, and then I marked which way is up and which side is against the fan, just so I'm not trying to figure out this stuff while I'm up here on the roof. Ellie has moved to a new supervisory position. She's still doing a great job. To try and disperse the load a little bit more from the screw heads is the number 1 and the number 3 piece are the long aluminum pieces. But then the number 2 and the number 4 are the long plastic pieces underneath. And so they screw into the longer aluminum bits just to even it out a little bit more. As I tighten the clamps to get the plastic piece flush up against where I need it to be, I sort of, feel by hand to make sure with this 1x2 it's actually even with the bottom of the flange. And over here I was thinking, how come it's not getting even? There is it sort of goes up. See, it goes there and then it goes up. So I kept thinking, something's off, but it's not off. It's even under here, so I'm good. The way this feels, very happy with it. It's really good and solid. So I used a plastic scraper, got rid of the excess butyl, cleaned everything with denatured alcohol, and now I'm using the lap sealant Dicor product, the RV roofing experts. So I put the Dicor on, and it's messy, but nobody will ever see it up here. It is self-leveling, so it'll smooth out a bit, but I covered all the lower spots so that it will keep it nice and watertight. I'll let this dry and then I'll put the fan on tomorrow. Dicor has dried overnight. It feels good. It's not tacky. It's got good coverage. So I'm going to put the fan in now. So these clips, these things you can take a screwdriver and just move them up a titch if need be. And what you have to do before you install is open it up so that you're able to get to where the screws go in right here. Otherwise, this covers it.
So everything's press and hold with these.
Yay!
Crank it up, you can crank up the speed, press and hold. Really pull some air through there.
Nice.
And yeah, this reverses, you can just hit in and out, and you can do it when it's at full speed.
Seriously, and it, wow.
Slow itself down before it reverses.
Nice.
So now push it out.
So I have the fan shroud up to see how deep it goes up to the ceiling, and I marked it right there. So what that means is I've got that much room, so I'll just take this measurement, move it down here, and then cut it at that point, and then that'll be the right thickness. So I cut it down to size, and I used my trusty Dremel tool. This thing has been a lifesaver today. It's this little diamond wheel on it, and it cut it very nicely. So you can see it is not as thick as it's screwed up into the ceiling, and it looks nice and finished. And the lights here are on a dimmer. That's nice. But the MaxxFan is now 100% complete.
Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you with your project.